Hi, my friends, it's Miss Grace again. I just had so much fun moving my body and singing and dancing along with you to our song about colors in the last video. And as you might be able to tell, I've taken off some of my colors that I was wearing, and that's because this video is not just about colors, it's about mail. And I was thinking about our book that Miss Olivia read for us today, Dear Juno, about the letter that Juno received from his grandmother. And if we take a look at it in this picture here, my friends, where Juno is looking at his letter, I can see that this envelope, this piece of paper that's holding the message inside, has some different colors on it. What colors do you see there, my friends? Yeah, it might be a little dark in this picture and hard to tell, but I see some blue and some red markings on the outside of this envelope, my friends. And that is because this is a special envelope. It's called an airmail envelope. And that means, my friends, that this envelope traveled on a plane. It had to go on a plane to fly from the person who was sending it to the person who was receiving it. So after Juno's grandmother mailed this letter, it went on a plane and it flew all the way to Juneau, which is very far because, my friends, if you remember from our story, Juneau lives in the United States and his grandma lives in Korea. So this letter came all the way from Korea, which is a very far distance. It's all the way across the ocean. So this airmail envelope had to go on a plane and fly and fly and fly across the whole ocean in order to get to Juneau. I have an envelope here, my friends, that is kind of like the airmail envelope, but as you can see, there are no colors on it. It is just a white envelope. It doesn't have those blue and red markings, and so we know that this is not an airmail envelope. It's just a regular envelope. But my friends, this is not the only kind of envelope that we saw in our story. I remember when Juno was working on his nice, thoughtful drawings for his grandma that he was so proud of, right here. He was making all of these beautiful pictures, being an artist, and all of these pictures would not fit in a small envelope like this one, like the one that Juno's grandma sent to him. And so instead of using a white envelope and folding up his pictures, my friends, Juno used a different kind of envelope called a manila envelope. You can see it right here. When Juno's grandma received all of the pictures, he sent them in this manila envelope. And you can see, my friends, it's not white, it's more of an orangish yellow color. And I have one with me to show you so that you can see what they look like, my friends. This is a big manila envelope. It has an opening up here where you can go ahead and put pieces of paper or pictures inside of it and close it up. And as you can see, my friends, it is much bigger than just our regular white envelope right here. And so it was able to fit Juno's pictures. But there was one more kind of envelope I remember seeing in our story, my friends. And it was at the very end of our story when the weather was turning cold and it was starting to become fall, and Juno received this kind of envelope in the mail. And it looks like it's the same color as our manila envelope, my friends, but instead of holding just paper, it also had a toy plane inside of it and these colored pencils. And so this is not just a regular manila envelope, my friends. This is something called a bubble mailer. And I have one of those to show you too. This is my biggest envelope that I have. It's called a bubble mailer. You can see it's even bigger than this manila envelope right here. It's way bigger than my face. And a bubble mailer is a really funny name, my friends, because I don't see any bubbles on this envelope. I just see sort of a orangish yellow color. But if I go ahead and open up to look at the inside, I can see that it is full of bubble wrap right here, my friends. There's bubble wrap that is part of this envelope. And so if I were to send something inside of this envelope that was bigger than just a piece of paper or some drawings that was maybe an object like Juno's toy plane, these bubbles, this bubble wrap would help to surround and to protect whatever is going inside the envelope so that it doesn't get damaged or broken when it's going on its journey through the mail. And so these envelopes can all be different sizes. They can also have different weights. They can weigh different amounts in our hands when we pick them up. So let's play a fun guessing game, my friends. I'm thinking about if I were to send a piece of paper inside of this small white envelope, or I were to send some drawings or pictures or like a leaf like Juno sent in my bigger manila envelope, I'm wondering which of these would be heavier. Do you think that my manila envelope full of pictures and a leaf would be heavier and weigh more, or be lighter and weigh less than a piece of paper in this small envelope? What do you think, my friends? I was thinking that if I were to put a lot of pictures and a lot of pieces of paper inside this bigger envelope, my friends, that it would be heavier and it would weigh more in my hands than this smaller envelope that might only have one letter or one piece of paper inside of it. So our envelopes can be different sizes and they can also have different weights, and some will be heavier and some will be lighter than each other. We saw all of these different kinds of envelopes in our story, but I remember too, there was something else going on with these envelopes in our book. Let's take a look back to when Juno was showing his family, his parents, his letter that he got from his grandma down here. If we look really close, I can see these blue and red markings around the edge so that we know that this is an airmail envelope. But I also see, if we look way, way close up, there's some writing here on the envelope, my friends. I see some letters and some numbers, and this is called the address. That is what's telling us who the letter is for and where it's supposed to go. So Juno's grandmother had to write Juno's name and his address, the place he lives, onto this envelope so that the people who work at the post office would know where to take it. And I also see a square of color right here in the corner of the envelope, my friends. And this is a special sticker called a stamp. And the stamp is what tells us that the letter's trip, its journey on a plane or in a truck or in a car, is paid for. So this stamp tells us that the letter is paid for. And it's a little hard to see on this picture right here, my friends. And so I brought a letter with me to show you what this looks like. And this letter is from actually my own grandma, my friends. And my grandma doesn't live in another country like Juno's grandma, but she does live in a different state than me. So I live in a state called Illinois, and my grandma lives in a state called Idaho. And Illinois and Idaho are pretty far apart. It's not across the ocean, but if you were to get into a car and drive from where I live in Illinois all the way to where my grandma lives in Idaho, it would take you a long, long time. You'd be driving for a lot of hours, like over 20 hours, my friends. So my grandma and I live pretty far apart, and that's why we send each other mail to tell each other how our day is going and what's going on so that we can stay in touch. And so let's take a look at some of the things on this envelope. You might be noticing them already, my friends, but I see right here, this is where my grandma wrote my name and my address where I live so that the people who work at the post office would know where to take this letter where I live in Illinois. And then my friends, my grandma also put some fun stickers on the envelope over here to be some nice decorations to make me smile when I got this letter, which I did. It put a big smile on my face. I see a nice pink balloon and some animals. There's even some rainbow heart stickers on the back, which made me feel very warm and fuzzy inside because I knew that my grandma was putting those hearts there to tell me that she loves me. But there's also another kind of sticker right up here in the corner, and I see this sticker is a little different, my friends. It has some wavy edges right here, and this is the stamp. So instead of being just for decoration like these other stickers, the stamp here is telling us that this letter's trip all the way from Idaho, where my grandma lives, to Illinois, where I live, is paid for. And this stamp has a picture of a pretty flower on it, my friends. But sometimes stamps can have pictures on them that tell us a little bit of information about where the letter is coming from. And I have some of my stamps right here to show you, my friends. And if we look at these stamps, we can see this is the United States flag. And so if I were to take my stamp and put it on an envelope to send to someone, they could look at the stamp and see the United States flag, and they would know that the letter was coming from someone who lives in the United States. And I remember in our story, my friends, that is exactly how Juno knew that the letter he got was coming from his grandma in Korea. Before he even opened up his letter, he knew that the letter was from his grandma because he saw the stamp. And my friends, we don't know what was on this stamp. Maybe it was a picture of the Korean flag, or maybe it was a picture of a special animal or plant that you can find in Korea. But something about the picture on the stamp of this envelope told Juno that the letter was coming from Korea. And so he knew that it was coming from his grandma who lives there. And in the next video, my friends, Savannah is going to tell us more about stamps and about what we can find on stamps, what kinds of pictures we see on stamps. But before we get to that, I want to show you one more kind of mail. And all of the mail we've been talking about so far, my friends, uses an envelope. So it goes inside of this little pouch to keep it safe on its journey. But there's one kind of mail that doesn't use an envelope, and that is called a postcard, my friends. A postcard is one piece of paper, just one. It doesn't go inside of an envelope. And so on one side of that paper, you can write the address, the place where the letter is going to, and put the stamp, the sticker that tells us that that postcard is paid for. And on the other side, you can write your message or you can draw a picture to the person you're sending it to. To show you what that looks like, my friends, I have a postcard here that I got from one of my friends a couple years ago. And you can see it doesn't go in an envelope. It's just one piece of paper. And right here is where my friend wrote my address and my name that tells us where this letter is going to, and wrote a nice message to me on the other side to tell me about what she was up to and what was going on in her life. And I even see up here in the corner, my friends, this is where the stamp is, the special sticker telling us that the letter is paid for. And this stamp doesn't have a picture of a flag on it, my friends. It has a nice picture of a statue right there. And if we look really closely, we can see that there are some numbers right here telling us the price that my friend paid to send this postcard to me. And I see, my friends, instead of having a dollar sign for the price up here, it has a sign that's called pounds. And pounds are a kind of money that is used in a different country. And so when I took a look at this stamp, my friends, and saw that it was talking about pounds instead of dollars, I knew that this postcard was coming to me from an entirely different country. And it was coming from a country called England, where my friend was going to school. And so this postcard came from a really, really long way away. England is also way across the ocean from the United States. So this postcard probably had to go on a plane or on a boat in order to get to me. And I also see on the back of this postcard, my friends, there's a lovely picture of these different buildings and some streets to show me what kinds of things my friend was seeing in England, in the other country where she sent this postcard from. And so postcards can be a great way to show people that we care about what we're seeing or what we're up to when we're in a new place or when we're traveling, because they don't use an envelope and they have a nice picture on them, which is really lovely, my friends. When I got this postcard in the mail, my friends, it put a big smile on my face. It made me so happy to read the message that my friend wrote on it, to find out what she was doing and how she was, even though she was so far away, my friends. And so receiving a letter or a postcard in the mail can be really great and really wonderful, but also sending a letter or a postcard to someone that we care about to tell them how we're doing and to ask how they are can also be really wonderful and very fun to do. And so in one of our centers today, my friend Miss Jennifer is going to show us exactly how we can write our own letter using words or using pictures to send to someone that we care about. And if I were to do that, my friends, if I were to write my letter and put an address on there to tell the people who work at the post office where the letter is going, and to put a stamp on there to pay for my envelope, then I would take it to something that looks like this. And this, my friends, is a little mailbox. It has a picture of an envelope on the side, just like our envelope that we saw earlier, so that we know we can put our letters and our mail inside of here to send them. And it also has a few different slots up here that we can put our envelopes or our postcards into to send them off into the mail. And so if I were to write a postcard just like the one my friend sent to me, I could take it outside and walk to a mailbox and slide it into one of the slots there, and it would be off on its journey to wherever it is going, wherever the address says. But how does that work, my friends? The mailbox doesn't take the letter somewhere, it stays in the same place. So how do the letters and the postcards get to where they're going? Well, if we take a closer look at this mailbox, my friends, I can see it has a little door right here, and it also has a keyhole. And so every day, people who work for the post office, or mail people, come to the mailbox with a mail key, which they use to put in the keyhole and open up this door. And what do we see inside of this mailbox, my friends? I see the postcard that I just put in there. So people who work for the post office can open up the door and take out the mail that is inside the mailbox, and then they can take it to the post office to go off on the next part of its journey. And that is how mail gets from one place to another. So if you want to learn more about that, my friend Miss Savannah is going to take us on the journey that a letter takes when it goes in the mail from one person to the other in one of our center time videos, my friends. So thank you so much for learning about letters and postcards and envelopes and mail with me, my friends. I had so much fun today, and I hope you have a great time continuing to explore mail in our centers today. Bye.